Previously on Warcraft III Easter eggs.
I don't think there are any Easter eggs in it, so I won't be looking at that. Well, it seems that I was wrong. There are some Easter eggs in Rexxar's campaign. The Founding of Durotar is a notably unique campaign in that it involves no buildings and very little unit control, and instead focuses entirely on hack-and-slash RPG elements. The playable heroes can go up to level 15, and all of their abilities up to level 4. They constantly find artifacts that would normally be utterly overpowered in any normal game, and the enemies you fight are unending. It was these unique elements that first led me to believe that there weren't any Easter eggs in the game's maps. Since units and abilities that could clear debris and spy from afar were scarce, I assumed that the emphasis was on a more serious campaign and less on secrets. I was wrong. This mistake was also because I may have beaten the whole game, maybe, but it was a long time ago and I only did it once. It was fun, but since the storyline wasn't directly connected to the other campaigns, and since Rexxar was never one of my favorite characters, this campaign was sort of left on the back burner for me whenever I played the Frozen Throne. This is similar to the way I felt about the bonus campaign, the final few levels of the Exodus of the Horde, so they fit together rather nicely into one video. Let me just rant about one thing real quick off the bat, and then on to the secrets. Blue? Why are Rexxar and his companions' team color blue throughout this campaign? This may indicate how deeply my nerdiness goes for Warcraft, but to me colors are sacred. You can't just choose a random color to give a player. The color should distinguish the player in the universe of Warcraft's lore. It should be the color they would put on a flag if they personally had one. I know that for me this stems back to my first love, Warcraft II. I got it for my 8th birthday, and I was immediately obsessed with the way each nation and clan was named and colored. I memorized every one of them, from Black Gilneas and Red Stromgarde to the purple Twilight's Hammer and White Dragonmaw clans. I still remember seeing the orange human ships in the Battle of Daromir and realizing immediately that Alterac had betrayed the Alliance. I've always been bothered at other misuses of color in Warcraft III's campaigns. In my opinion, for instance, the Night Elves shouldn't be blue in the campaign. Why not teal to complete the first 4 color options in melee maps in the map editor? It would have completed the pattern with the other races being blue, red, and purple instead of copying an already used color. And why is Illidan green in this map when he's on his own, and yet blue when he's on his own in this map, and purple when he faces Arthas? I've always viewed player color as anything but subtle, and to me it's always been significant to the storyline. It was immediately apparent to me, for example, that the humans encroaching on the lands are from Kul'Tiras because of their green color, even before Rexxar found the shield with the anchor emblem on it. I'm probably the only one who cares this much about something like color, so I'll just end by saying that I really wish that Rexxar's color would have been the brown of the Barrens, or maybe orange or gray or something, but not blue! In the overworld for Tame land, the only item of note is this amusing little clockwork penguin you find by destroying the centaur camp in the northwest. It's literally just a squeak toy. It doesn't do anything but make a noise like a penguin. In the Orgrimmar Tunnels map, use a few of Gazlo's goblin sappers to blow up the red mushrooms in the far southeast corner of the map. They'll reveal some claws of attack +6. There's also a ring of superiority behind some red mushrooms in the northern part of the tunnel. In the Beast Den, this interspatial tunnel that's this big on the outside and this big on the inside, you'll find a few gold coins in this little grove of trees. That's all for this act, at least as far as I could tell. Thunder Ridge and the Echo Isles didn't have anything that I could find. I am a bit confused about the Thunder Phoenixes to the north. Why are they called Thunder Phoenixes? Would it have been that hard to change their vertex coloring a bit and give them a lightning attack? They're literally just stronger phoenixes that don't burn themselves into an egg form and back.
My tribe on the Echo Isles could be deep in the danger too.
I have an urgent mission for you, Rexxar. That human fleet poses a serious threat to the trolls that live on the Echo Isles.
That was rude. It's kind of funny how everyone just seems to give little attention to the other heroes besides Rexxar. Even Rexxar himself does this.
I'm in for a serious fight. I wander alone.
I guess it's the equivalent of the NPCs on Diablo not regarding your followers. On the Old Hatred's overworld map are a few lines of unused dialogue.
Haven't reached Theramore yet? You'd best be hurrying, warrior. You gotta deliver the message soon. Our ogre friend be recovering swiftly, Rexxar, but I thought you were heading out to his village. You'd best be hurrying.
I've secured the first component, but I've got to hurry and get the others. Time is running out. That's it. I've got all of them. I'd better get these back to Thrall quickly.
They all seem to indicate some sort of timer that used to be part of these quests. Because of the open world nature of these levels, the devs probably thought it best to let the player go at their own pace as much as possible and took these lines out. There's also a hidden area you can access by sneaking through the trees to the southeast. The Eldritch Deathlord is a foe to be reckoned with, but it drops the shield of the Deathlord, which is really valuable. Also, the Captain Thornby in this camp could be the same person as the villager who joined Arthas in the first human campaign.
We'll fight for Lordaeron! Get your swords!
On the coastal base level, which is a really silly one in my opinion, a Blade Master setting up explosives? A stealth level would have been fun, but this one didn't make much sense. Explosive wards filled with an unstable concoction, my eye. Those are very clearly barrels of gunpowder, the exact same ones the dwarves brought with them and stupidly set up near their key buildings. I think the developers realized that they had never really given a chance to use Hellscream's abilities in a fun way on the invasion of Kalimdor, so Samuro was their solution. Anyway, on this level you can get a +5 Crown of Kings if you destroy the Altar of Kings. Oh, I get it. Kings and kings. Yeah. Other than that, I found it interesting on this map that the Wildkins live in tents here, whereas in the Barrens they live in nests. It looks like this trigger here was used as a sort of palette of dialogues that the map developers pulled from to use in the various quests. Most of the quests in the trigger are empty, all except for the quest Human Survivors. It has some unused lines of dialogue.
More surface dwellers. Destroy them. You cannot stop the Naga. Intruders. Slaughter them before they escape.
Strange. I don't see any human bodies strewn around.
Yes, but these tracks lead out to sea. Look there, that tiny island. Well, we won't find any answers waiting around here. Let's move.
All the humans are dead in the Naga's lair, but these lines by Rexxar and Jaina indicate that perhaps originally there were some survivors, and there's no sign of any tiny island on the map anymore either. Moving on to Theramore Isle, if you break open these eagle cages to release some hawks... Yeah, I don't really get it either. You can use the hawks to explore over here to the west, where you'll catch a glimpse of little Timmy and his mom Alicia from the first level of the Scourge of Lordaeron. As I said before, I'm not sure where his brothers went. He had like 5 of them, but they clearly made it safely out of Lordaeron at least. There's also a Cloak of Flames by the fountain in the northeast corner. You can access it by boat and pick it up by dropping one of your heroes just barely on the edge. I really admire this level. Both the look of it, the mechanics of disguising yourself while on the transport ship to open the harbor gates, and the Zelda dungeon-like layout of the map, where each action requires several more before it to accomplish, all while making use of as much of the small map space as possible. Now on to the post-Theramore areas. I don't think I went into hardly any of these my first time through the campaign years ago, but they're all really beautifully designed and come with valuable spoils. If you haven't played this campaign yet, make sure to seek out and enter all of the sub-areas you can. Your experience playing the campaign will be much more fulfilling than speeding through the storyline. There's an interesting trigger in all the sub-areas. In each is a Blade Master that is used as a placeholder to hold the items in Rexxar's stash. The trigger immediately hides him. So even though you don't see him there by the Resurrection Stone, he's there. Watching. In the Magistrate's Temple, break some of these rocks off the path and you'll come upon a black market that sells a variety of useful items. Farther up north, you can find 1,000 gold coins hidden in the waterfall. There's some more gold down in the southwest area, along with some tomes. It's an impressively hidden area you can access by rooting through some tall grass. There's nothing secret in Dustwallow Marsh except for the stream you can climb up, which is a bit obvious. But as a map maker, I wondered for the longest time what the heck these geyser doodads were. Had there been an imported doodad? A doodad added to the Frozen Throne that I just had never stumbled upon in the world editor? Nope, digging through the unidentified map files in the MPQ is worth it to find out that these are actually giant fountains under the ground.
Well played.
There's also nothing in the Den of the Lost, the Outland Arena, or surprisingly, Mulgore. I'm a bit suspicious about the storyline in Mulgore. The Spirit Walker, Bovan Windtotem, doesn't say any story-specific lines. His lines are normal lines that a normal Spirit Walker says when you click on one and move him around and stuff. The way Rexxar just magically interprets Bovan's cryptic and brief lines, and how the Tauren is completely silent for the rest of the level, makes me wonder if Blizzard had some kind of scheduling problem with the voice actor for Spirit Walkers and just had to make do with the lines they had. In the final map, Tide Fury Cove, you can take a transport off the eastern shore to the island farther up north. There's a goblin merchant called Whizbang's Island Treasure Shop you can visit, as well as an extra island with another Kulturas base you can destroy. This map also has some unused dialogue.
You've got to hurry, Rexxar. I want our standard flying high when we meet the humans head-on.
Along with it, the trigger contains some commentary still remaining from the level's designers. It states, "I don't think we'll use this line. It implies time pressure, but there are really no time constraints. Also, Thrall will likely be roaming the base, and we don't want the player hearing this whenever they run into him." This seems to confirm my theory about the other lines as well. Timers just ended up not having a place in the game, so several of these lines were cut. Along with this line, there are a few of Rexxar basically urging on the Horde to keep fighting. And now for the shortest yet most action-packed act, A Blaze of Glory. On the first map, there are 4 instances of the only item ever to have fit the treasure chest item model accurately, pirate booty. One of them is on the northern coast of the main larger island, another is on the small island to the far east, and 2 are found on the island that covers the northwest corner of the map. Each will give you 600 gold. I usually don't bother to mention the items found in debris, but breaking this barrel will give you a glyph of omniscience, which reveals the entire map. The final Easter egg is probably the most amusing one. At Theramore City, you can see a few gold coins on an island off the shore, but you don't have a boat to access it and there aren't any shipyards on the map, so they're impossible to reach. I'm just kidding, of course it's possible to reach. We have to resort to our old friend Blink to get to it. Go to Magic Rings and Things on the east side of the city and buy Kellen's Dagger of Escape. Here's a fun fact real quick. Kellen was David Fried's Dungeons & Dragons character he played with the other members of Blizzard back in the day. He put this character's name into this item, as well as 2 random hero names, an archmage named Kellen the Seeker and a blood mage named Kellen the Destroyer. Lore-wise, the Kellen that the dagger is named after was a stealthy rogue who was well known for his ability to slip away from any pursuit and find his way out of even the most escape-proof traps. Only upon his death did the world learn that his secret was really in the glass-sheathed dagger he carried, at least according to Magic and Mayhem, an expansion to Warcraft's tabletop role-playing game. Have you guys ever looked into these? Blizzard says they're non-canonical, but I love the directions they took with the lore in them. Anyway, right, the hard-to-reach gold coins. Use the dagger to blink across the water, and you'll find a whole bunch of coins leading to the Bling Ring. This item will give you 25 gold every time you click it, and has a 5-second cooldown. Obviously completely worthless at this point in the game, but it's one of the most fun and creative items in all the campaigns. I want to end by saying I'm slightly disappointed in Rokan's ultimate ability. Not its effect, changing Big Bad Voodoo to Voodoo Spirits was a good idea for the fun of the campaign, but why couldn't they have changed the models of the locusts to something more voodoo-y, like this? Or this? I mean, don't they look way more like Voodoo Spirits? It's certainly less Crypt Lord-like. Rokan isn't from the Spider Kingdom, he's from the Dark... It's possible that some of you have never realized that there's a bonus campaign in Warcraft III. It consists of 3 additional levels that continue the exodus of the Horde campaign, taking place after Thrall and Grom set sail for Kalimdor and explaining how the Darkspear Trolls joined the Horde. It was actually made completely separate from Warcraft III and offered as a demo campaign before its release, so it's kinda weird and really basic and mostly forgettable. The original demo had voiceovers, but the custom campaign that comes with your copy of Warcraft III does not. However, if you want the full experience with the spoken dialogue, my friend Kostyarik at the Hive Workshop recompiled the campaign to be compatible with the current version of Warcraft III while keeping the voiceovers. You can find a link to it in the description below. It stars Tyrande as the voice of the Sea Witch.
The air you breathe now will be your last.
Like I said, as a demo, the campaign is very basic, mainly designed to help players understand how Warcraft III works before they buy it. So unsurprisingly, there are very few Easter eggs. In the first level, Riders of the Storm, the 2 reagents needed to cleanse the Poison Fountain, the Seed of Expulsion and the Vine of Purification, had longer descriptions in the original demo than they do in the Frozen Throne updated one. Whereas in the current version they just say a magical seed and a magical vine, in the demo the descriptions were much longer, giving some lore behind the ingredients. Since descriptions are generally supposed to be short, it makes sense why they changed this, though they apparently thought the lore behind the ingredients was completely unnecessary, since they didn't even bother to put the longer descriptions into the tooltip itself. The fires down below has a fun layout, but its only secret is this potion of mana behind some rocks. As for the final level, Countdown to Extinction, among all the strange colored Murloc buildings is a single Easter egg, a hidden tent down in the south on an island. Wade over to it and chop the trees down to reveal it, and a tent contains a crown of kings and a scroll of restoration. If you haven't played this campaign yet, I encourage you to. It's definitely forgettable for the most part, but it's creative in its own way and has some fun parts. Though the fact that they showed Kul'Tiras sailors wearing blue instead of green, especially since they later fixed this in the Founding of Durotar, still makes my OCD Warcraft fanboy blood boil. Before you go, remember that I'm going to be making one last video to showcase all of the Easter eggs I've missed in this series. If you noticed anything I overlooked or saw something you're curious about, make sure to tell me in the comments of that particular video. In order to make it easier for me, check real quick just to see if anyone else has already brought it up before posting. Thanks! As for me, I'm going to be taking a much closer look at every map in the game to make sure I can get as close to all of the Easter eggs covered as I can. See you later, guys.